Episode 53 of the Planet Nintendo podcast. Let's see what's on the menu for tonight. PM picks, what we've been playing, what's coming out soon. The whole mini console debate. Sony has just entered the race. Telltale, a very sad story. We're going to be talking about that. And the possibility of a game streaming service from Nintendo. So let's get it started. Episode 53 of PNP. I am joined, like always, by the best co-host on the planet, Joe After Work. What's up, man?
Whoa, Bobby, I think I got 3 in a row.
I'm over it. I'm going to go someplace else. I'm going to go proper perspective.
Oh, my God. Dude, damn, what happened?
I swear it was Bobby on the live show, but I could be...
No, you can swear whatever you want to swear.
No love.
It wasn't the case.
Oh, after that heartfelt speech and everything, you know?
I'm just going to listen to music because I don't care about you, man.
And,
oh, my God. Hey, Bobby, we're matching.
The Nintendo guru. Oh, yeah, nice mics. I like the mics. What are you listening to Trash Eminem?
Excuse me?
Oh,
trash?
God, here we
Trash
go.
Eminem.
Oh, my God,
Eminem
this is getting
Don't
started.
even try that trash stuff.
I think everyone's scared because Machine Gun Kelly, I think, won that.
Machine Gun
has
Kelly
no
said
response.
that he can't come back.
Exactly. It's done.
He can't come back.
It's over. It's squash.
He lost.
It's kind of like fighting with your older uncle. It's not really cool.
Please. Please.
But Bobby, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Awesome.
How are you doing, Patrick?
I'm doing great. Never been better. Fully rested up.
I guess so. Someone slept all damn day. We're supposed to be doing this 8 hours ago. We're supposed to record this thing.
Better late than never.
No, that's not true. Whoever made that saying is full of crap.
I will say it's better than that one time during Christmas where I missed an episode.
Yep. But before we start, guys, you can also listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play. Bobby is still running a $50 competition.
eShop card. Yeah, $50 eShop card. All you have to do is rate the podcast, leave a review, and that's it. And that'll automatically enter you into the drawing. I don't know what's going on with iTunes. I know it takes a little time for it to register through. So if you've left a review, let us know. Tweet at us or something, because the reviews seem to be taking a while to get up. They're not actually going up right away. So we just want to know there's people out there that listen. We know we see the numbers. We know there's people listening.
That'd be pretty.
Can't tell me that many people don't want to win money.
Imagine getting Super Smash Bros for $10.
Yeah, exactly, man. Come on.
But yes, that is going on. Also, big thank you to everyone who joined us on the live show, the 1-year anniversary. Got some donations there. A lot of people showed up. So
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
A lot of people showed up.
And PM picks. Let's get to what we've been playing. Maybe some games that are coming out. I'll start with Bobby, like always.
Oh, we're gonna start with Bobby. Always. Always. Okay, that's a new one. Okay, starting with me. I've been playing a lot of. I want to talk about this because I felt was nice. So last night was Splatfest.
Mm-hmm.
I was streaming. Joe was actually streaming as well. They made one change to this. Well, they made a couple changes to the Splatfest. So now when you play for clout, which means you're earning points as you play, and then they actually accumulate the clout points as opposed to the wins and losses. So meaning, essentially what that means is if you play, I'm assuming if you're playing, I don't know how that works. That doesn't make sense. Because if you're playing the same teams against each other, then the scores should tally, but then wouldn't that make it unfair? Because if they have more players, and I don't know how it all works. I just know that it's not straight up wins and losses anymore. They don't go by that. They have a ticker tail or a ticker tape up that shows the news, which is kind of cool because you're playing. You can look up and see what your friends are doing.
Yeah, that was cool.
It'll tell you your friend just won this match, or this one did this for Team Retro, and it was kind of cool. The other thing that I really like is this. So if you're playing on Splatfest Day, typically in the past you needed 4 friends in order to play with others. Now you don't. You can play with 2 friends, and then at any time you can just hit search, and it'll search for other randoms to jump in with you.
Oh, it's so much better.
Yeah.
So it moves so much quicker, and it felt like the connection of matches was a lot faster than previous. There was some disconnects. There were some issues on that end. So this is the first actual Splatfest since Nintendo Online kicked in. So I don't expect this one to really be all the bugs worked out. It's not like this thing kicked on Tuesday and then all of a sudden Nintendo waved the magic wand and fixed everything. But it feels like they're trying to get things better and moving in the right direction.
Any drops or anything? Any difference?
There was a few drops. Like I said, it's the first one since. So I'm not expecting like they started online on Tuesday and then they just went out on Wednesday and bought all new servers. Like, I don't think that happened. And I think that they kind of just was like, what we have is what we have there. Let's worry about the next Splatfest and fix things moving forward. But I like that they're trying to make some adjustments on Splatfest to make it a little better. I played some Fortnite today with some crews. Played with Jules and Joseph Moran and Jonathan Brown. That was fun. I haven't really played anything new this week. I bought a couple things. Like I bought Undertale. I bought Final Fantasy 15 Pocket. I've been playing that a little bit. I'm enjoying it. So we'll see. But other than that, that's it.
You jumping on Mario Party?
When's that come out?
October 5th?
Soon,
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
I was going to get it, and then I talked to N64 Josh a little bit about it, and it sounds like it's not something I'm into. Sounds like the online isn't truly online. It's just a bunch of mini games online.
Yeah, it's like select mini games.
And I don't give a damn about that. Like, I'm not going to play Mario Party. I live alone. For those who don't know, my wife left me, so I have nobody to play games with anymore. So if anybody wants to be my player too, just hit me up on the Twitters.
Slide into the DMs.
No, it's just I don't have nobody here to play with. So what's the point of buying a game like that? And I thought that I could actually play that game with people online, and that's not what this is. So I have zero interest in it.
Yeah. There's also some things coming out. This game, you can't play it in handheld. You can't play it with a pro controller. It's reminding me a lot about like Mario Party 8, where it's like it's very motion control heavy, which I don't have a problem with, but there's going to be.
Reminds me a lot of Star Fox Zero. We know how that is.
Oh, man.
It looks good. I think it looks good.
But you can't play the whole thing in handheld? Like, what was the thing with, like, dropping it down on the table and connecting it with another Switch?
That's not handheld.
I guess.
That has to be, like, without Joy-Cons in it on the table. Which, like, that's a big complaint because I will never use that mode. Like, no one else I know has a Switch that's going to play.
That's true.
I don't know. But,
you don't know anybody else that has a Switch.
Well, that's close to me.
I mean, you don't ever plan on meeting that. You know what? I don't expect. Like we all met up. We all brought our Switches. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, buy Mario Party. Man. I'll fly it on for the weekend.
We understand that you don't like us that much. We get it. We understand.
Listen, Bobby. I'm not.
Don't start. Just let it go. Walk away, man. Just move along.
Mr. Joseph dancing his little buns off. What have you been playing, man?
Oh, man. So other than Just Dance 2018, Xenoblade Chronicles, the Torna DLC dropped. I've been playing that for like the last week and a half because I had the expansion, so I was able to play it a week early. And I went from like really, really enjoying myself to there's this stopping point that makes you do all these side quests. And now it's become a 50-50 love-hate relationship. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was is my favorite game on the Switch, hands down. That is my number one. Damn. This DLC, I feel like the story was meant to be in the actual campaign of this game.
Mm-hmm.
They redid the cutscenes, and the game looks slightly better, but it's still got like these weird pop-up textures that take a while, and like handheld still looks like sub 480p and whatnot. So it can be a little bit rough at times, but they fixed a lot of things with combat. They made leveling up a lot easier. Like I'm 20 hours in and I'm at the end of the game. I'm up to the point where this story sort of takes place where you start to learn about one of the characters in the game that really isn't into the game, and I'm going to be really broad to avoid spoilers for anybody that's still going through Xenoblade, because you can spend hundreds of hours in this game and still be like trying to 100% it. So
this is a prequel, right?
It's a prequel. It takes place during the 500 years ago where the initial war between the Aegises happened, and Malus is just running amok on everything. But they limit where you go in this game. It really is about Torna and its people, and you get to see Adam. You get to see this other character that's in the game. That's sort of what this story is about, between this person and Jin. And you get their backstory and everything like that. And there's a lot of different things that it seems like they're trying to connect the pieces, but then there's a lot of things that I'm just like, all right, they spent all of Xenoblade hiding Adam under a hood and not showing him on purpose. And I'm not getting that fulfillment of, okay, what was the point of hiding all that if he's just out here in the open as like a side character and he's not the main portion of the story or anything like that.
This is a full price game?
It's a $40 physical cartridge, which they do have, like it says on the thing, if you have Xenoblade Chronicles, here's like the a digital code to get all the expansion pass stuff that was included in that, so that's kind of neat.
Okay.
So it's basically $10 more than if you were to just buy it digitally on Xenoblade Chronicles and get a physical cartridge and
But this
a nice
isn't
icon.
like Xenoblade 2 with, it's like a whole nother thing.
It's a whole separate thing.
That's really weird.
It launches that way too in the actual Xenoblade Chronicles game. Like you actually have to go down to Torna, the Golden Country, and open that game up, and it launches it as a separate game. It's really
Has
weird.
there ever been a DLC standalone game like that?
There's been a few, yeah. Last of Us has done it. Gosh. Yeah. There's been a few games. I mean, Nintendo wise, I don't think so, but there's definitely been standalone stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that the like even little things in the new like Xenoblade, like the grass is different, so it's like kind of hinting at like what the next Xenoblade's gonna look like. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that this one's better than Xenoblade 2, like the story wise. It's much more like concentrated.
Yes and no. My biggest qualm is it locks story behind side quests, and it's the thing I call this the Wind Waker effect. Y'all know how I feel about Wind Waker. They say that they're side quests, but they really aren't. The coolest thing though is the community feature, where it's like I guess communities were in the first Xenoblade, which I still haven't played yet, but you basically talk to the people, do their side quests, you finish a side quest, you become a part of the community, and they become part of your community, and then there's like a whole leveling up system, and I guess there's 5 levels. I had to basically get up to level 4 in order to be able to finish the next part of the story that I'm at right now, which was like the most annoying thing on a planet. I spent about 4 to 5 hours just side questing about like 50 plus missions. I'm not even joking. And it's not even like, it got to the point where it's like, okay, this is neat, but the quests were all the same. Go get this, make this meal, beat this enemy, fight this golden thing. Like, it was the same thing over and over, and to the point I was just like, I don't care about your stories anymore. And that's what really tore me apart about this game. Otherwise, the actual story that's going on is the most interesting part, which I care about, which is why I'm like so like gung-ho about trying to finish this game.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
So Pat, I heard you play some Tecmo Bowl this week.
Woo! I did, Bobby, and you won.
I went more than you won. It wasn't just a win.
You
it was
destroyed.
destruction.
You destroyed little old NintenTalk over here.
Damn.
The thing that I like the best, Joe, is I was calling plays before they even happened.
Oh my god!
Telling him what I was going to do, and still did it.
Real talk, though. Well, congratulations, Bobby. We'll
Okay.
be rematching in the future.
Anytime.
I love this system, by the way.
Yeah, man.
It's
awesome.
really cool. The fact that like me and Joe started doing it, I'm like, oh, Joe's controlling the screen right now. It was just like it's a novelty thing. I don't know, like they're gonna be adding more games, so that's cool. But yeah, the play thing, even the little clap thing that you do is just really cool. As far as games I've been playing, Joe actually made me pick this one up. The Butcher. It's the run and gun Doom style pixel art.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's getting to the spooky season, so I played that. It was like a 2.5 hour playthrough, 2 hour playthrough. Really fun, dude. It's like $4 on sale right now. So pick that up, and also because of Tecmo Bowl, kind of got into the football spirit, so I picked up Madden 19.
On Nintendo?
No.
We don't talk about that stuff here.
Madden 9. Let me just say
edit
this.
that part. Edit that part out.
Let me just say this.
Censor it. This is gonna be
please.
The last
we don't talk about anything non-Nintendo here now. Get
we
out
love
of here.
talking about EA. The last Madden game I got was like 4 years ago. Let me just say nothing has changed at all besides the rosters. So it's fun though. It's Madden. Yes. All right. We're not talking about Madden. Okay. What's up, Joe?
That just going back to the Tecmo thing, well, just the NES thing in general, like the Japanese eShop one, if you download it for free on there, it still connects it. I'm under the notion that's gonna change at some point. That is too good to be true. But so
you still have your Japanese
the games
account?
are identical right now.
Right now,
the only difference is that the Zelda game.
That's what I wanted to get to. Yeah,
the Zelda game's a disc version.
Which is awesome. It's the better soundtrack and everything because it's got an extra channel for audio. Oh my god! So, if anybody wants to play that again in Japanese,
they're definitely going to be adding exclusive Famicom games to that. I would think.
You would think, right?
I would think, yeah. It's way too good to be true that we're now getting everything across the board.
I can't wait.
Oh man. So our next topic is Sony is such an innovative company. They come out with the they come out with the PlayStation Move, totally original idea. They come out with the little figurines, like brilliant idea. They come out with All Stars, which is kind of like a fighting, characters coming together fighting. And then they come out with this classic mini console. It's just like, Sony, you're amazing. Barbarino.
My thing is this: look, Nintendo didn't create the all-in-one systems. That was Atari did it first. Sega did it first. There's a couple other companies I think that did them. I think ColecoVision did one as well. But the things that they basically stole straight out from Nintendo was the name Classic. That wasn't like none of the other companies did classics. That was Nintendo with the classics. The idea too that it was a mini, so a smaller version of the console. That's different because Sega's and Atari's were like full size consoles. Some of them did like the actual controllers that you just plug the controllers into the system. And then the other thing was the marketing. They legitimately stole the same exact one hand holding the thing in. The only difference is theirs is tilted a little bit more further. Like, come on, man. Really? One thing, so being serious about it for a moment, Toby and I talked about it today on Nintendo PlayStation. And the one thing that we both kind of walked away from was I don't like the fact that they didn't list all 20 games because I have zero desire to pre-order this thing. And it's still up for pre-order. Like, you could still get it. So Toby's question was, well, is that because people aren't buying it? Or is that because they made so many of them that they can meet demands? So I don't know what is what. So
yeah, the games that are there, I only really have interest in two of them: Final Fantasy VII and Tekken 3. I love Tekken 3.
But here's the thing: why would you buy that Final Fantasy VII? Why wouldn't you wait for it to come to Switch?
Yeah,
and get the upgraded version.
Yeah. See, for me, I have this weird nostalgia with PlayStation 1 because that was like the console that like my older brother had. Of course, I wanted to get on it. So, and I'm not about to go out and collect PS1 games. Like, I would like to play them, but
Good
it's
luck.
kind of a head. Yeah, they're expensive as hell, dude. So I think this is a good move by Sony, but then again, you just brought two of your biggest mascots in Spyro and Crash, and you just remastered the whole series. Why do I want to go back and play the original games? Now, PlayStation does have a big, I think a big library of games that I would be interested in revisiting. But then again, that's like the ugly stepchild generation of games.
The thing too that Sony has to do is they also need to go negotiate with a lot of third parties.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they haven't done some of it yet, because the original PlayStation was not a Sony console. That was all third parties majority. You know, they didn't really have teams that made stuff. The idea for the PlayStation was supposed to be the Nintendo PlayStation. That was supposed to be the original. Nintendo was supposed to be the first party for that console. And then when that all went awry and Nintendo backed out of the deal, Sony didn't have a first party in place. And that's when they started to go to all these other companies and started working things. Like Crash kind of was, but again, you just remastered that. Why would somebody go buy a classics to play that? Yeah. Makes no sense. I would rather get the upgraded version.
I think there's a market for that for people that don't have the other consoles, though.
I think you're insane.
It's the same thing with like the NES Classic or the SNES Classic. Why am I going to buy those games if all those games, other than Star Fox 2, were on the Wii Virtual Console, the Wii console, remastered on every other goddamn console as well?
So here's the thing. So you can't really HD pixel art. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be flat out honest with you. If the N64 comes out with basically, if majority of the stuff was like remastered stuff, which they haven't done, they've only done 2 games that I can think of right now that would be remastered. That would be Ocarina and Majora's Mask. Why would I'm serious. I wouldn't go buy this thing. It makes no sense to go buy something when there's remastered versions. Of course, yes, when you look at Nintendo, like when I look at Nintendo, the reason why I bought those classic minis was because of the fact of like the controllers that came in with them and the ability to play using them. Like I could go and I could use them on the Wii U at the time to play my NES games that I was downloading for Virtual Console. When you look at like what they're actually what they're doing, I just if the NES or the SNES Classic had like, okay, so if they just put out All Stars, right, and they just made this big hoopla, and I just paid $60 for All Stars, I would have a real hard pill to swallow to go buy the old version of these games, and I think that's where
it'd be like if they just remastered Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Kart 64 and then said, hey guys, here's the N64 Classic. It'd be really, because Spyro and Crash, those are like the two, you think about the PS1, those are the two guys you think of. Another thing is a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, I want, because Resident Evil 2 and Silent Hill are some of my favorite PS1 games. They're not going to put those on there because then they're gonna have to put a giant M on the box. And then
not even that. Aren't they remastering?
They're remastering.
Well, it's getting a complete remake, so it's going to be.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when you're competing against yourself, this doesn't make sense to me. I mean, hey, look, I know I'm sure there's people out there that are goofy and they'll go buy this thing just because they love Sony.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like for me, I look at it and I go, there's zero interest for me to buy that. And I'm the person that buys the Nintendo ones. But again, for me buying the Nintendo ones, it's a little bit different. There's something in it for me. The controllers, are better. Like the original PlayStation controllers aren't like it's the same controller all across the board. They don't really change it. They make a few modifications on it. Like when you look at the design, it's basically the same controller all along.
They added the L1 and R2.
The D-pad, that ugly thing.
Oh, that D-pad's horrible. The split D-pad. So, but the other thing too is people are saying like they're not including the DualShocks in it.
It's the classic one, so anything
that also limits the games that can actually come to it.
We're not
Ape
talking
Escape.
about that much, but Ape Escape is not going to be there. That's
Which is a shame.
because,
Again,
yeah.
that's another.
Yeah.
I wonder what the hell's the deal with that, though, too. But I mean, not to stray too far from it, like, anything that they're going to release on this console is available on the PS3 also. But then again, it's like, who's going to pop out their PS3 to play all these games again? Like, anything that they list on that game, except for that, the one that's supposed to be, like, the first 3D platformer. It was one of the 5 games listed on there. I forget the name, it escapes me. No pun intended. But I will have probably a majority of those games on my PS3 that I could probably play.
Yeah. So real serious. Has anybody pre-ordered the thing?
I have. I have, because it's inevitable that Resident Evil 2 is gonna. And here's the thing about Resident Evil 2: it's like, it's my favorite game. I've owned that on multiple different platforms, so it's like.
You think they would put a rated M game on there?
Yeah, I think so.
So Pat, we need to find a replacement for this guy.
Listen, you're talking to the guy that bought Madden and talked about it, and now I gotta censor myself too.
I'm the only. So for
oh
those
no! Wait a minute, Bobby. I'm calling you out right now. You bought an Xbox One. You got it for Christmas. You got the PS4. You're thinking about trading them in. Like, nah, homie. This does not. This does not. I don't care. You got them, son. Let's go. Call you out, baby. Call you out.
You don't hear me talking about it.
Listen,
going like,
I can assure you, I can go back on an episode and find you talking about Halo or something like that.
They announced
you will never hear me talk about Halo. Never hear me talk about Halo.
They announced 5 games so far, 2 of which I'm interested in. There's still a lot of games that could be announced. I didn't pre-order it. I'm still in on it, but I'm not gonna like wake up at 5 in the morning like I did for the SNES. But there's a lot of games.
I don't think you're gonna have to.
No,
yeah, I don't
they're taking the safe route. Sony will mass produce these. I don't see this like selling out before it comes out.
Yeah.
The only game that would probably make me buy it is Metal Gear Solid.
Ooh.
I think Konami's gonna play nice. I think we get Metal Gear Solid. I think we get Silent Hill. I'm making bold claims.
The only reason I think that Konami might tell them to F off is because of Kojima.
Money talks.
There's some good PS1
there's some
games.
Saltiness in that
I know.
relationship.
I know. But I think you put the right price on that, and they'll get it. Especially after not getting Silent Hills also. Like, at the end of the day, it seems like Konami did that to themselves. There should be no reason that, hey, because Kojima's working on a game for Sony exclusively, that they're not going to give us, that's just more bad blood when you think about it at the end of the day. When you think of PlayStation games.
I don't think Konami cares.
And that's a problem, because that's going to bite them in the butt. Like, I mean, they're playing nice with Nintendo right now with getting all these Castlevania characters. Symphony of the Night, that's another one. You think PlayStation, Symphony of the Night, Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 7, which I already got listed. Tomb Raider, like, that entire series was defined on that console.
But don't you think that Konami would rather sell these games themselves on a Nintendo console and just collect money hand over fist, as opposed to, for $5 over on? I mean, I don't know what
they're not making any more money on it on the PS3 console right now.
I'm just saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I just think that, like, when you think about it, like, I don't know, man. I just look at that relationship. And it's bitter.
No, you bring up a good point. Yeah. But I mean, we don't know until. I mean, this is the company that continued the series after he left.
It's such bitterness, right? So it's such bitterness that in Smash, they're bringing David Hayter's back.
David Hayter.
And that was Kojima totally switched and put Kiefer Sutherland in.
Yeah.
So it's like silly. They're going back the opposite way of everything Kojima. They pulled down the PT. Right after Kojima got let go, and like I just feel like there's so much bad blood. It's going to be interesting to see if that game don't make it, and then next thing you know, they start putting out a like collection on Switch and Xbox One. Man.
Yeah.
Which I think we see happen. I mean, Snake Eater 3DS, like, I think we see Snake Eater. I think we see Sons of Liberty at some point.
Yeah.
There's no reason why.
Dude,
they can't redo Metal Gear. They can't do Metal Gear 2.
My mind is being blown right now. Twin Snakes, GameCube
Yo.
They can do a lot of stuff, man.
But yeah, he's gone.
This guy.
I got too excited.
He's a loose cannon. We
I
gotta
know.
get rid of him.
I know, right?
And Sony made that announcement on the day Nintendo's online service launched, which is an extra salt in there.
Yo.
But that's a good segue because now we got the whole community spinning on its head that Nintendo might come back and be like, oh yeah, here's the N64 classic. I have some thoughts about this, but Joe, I will start with you. N64 classic this year. Do we see it?
Man, I don't even know.
Should we see it? That's another question.
No. This is the fall is Nintendo's kind of moment here with Smash and Pokemon, and we're headed full on in with all these games coming out. The NES program just launched it. Like, they are full on focusing on the Switch, and I think this, if there's any year right now that it needs to focus on the Switch while everyone is still like, about this year, it's now. And I think bringing in the N64 right now, although it might cater to people, I think they wait until, bring that out next year, especially since, like, the announcement from when the last two happened seemed to have been like a random, like, GameStop thing getting leaked, and then it's usually like earlier in the year too. At least the last 2 years. I can't go like, just historically, it seems like that.
Little bit of evidence I think that we can look at is the controller patent went through or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bobby, N64 Classic 2018.
I think we see it. And the reason why I say that is it was very similar situations for the last two. You know what I mean? Like the patent got done, and then very shortly after the patent got done, they made the announcement. No different than like, hey, we waited for the patent and everything to go through on the Pro Controller while they're selling the Pro Controller in all the other regions, and then the FCC approves it, and then boom, it goes up for pre-order the next day. I think it's a very similar situation. I think it's one of these things that, like, they were just waiting for the patent to go through. Once the patent got authorized, now it's go time.
So this week, before this episode airs,
probably. but I think it'll be very soon. That it's gonna. I would say probably October, and then I would think that they would announce it like end of this month, beginning of next month, and then have it back out on the store shelves like right away, like November, December.
Man, dude, that's crazy. If that does happen, just think about it. You had Smash, the Smash one coming out in early November, like the first week of November. The Pokemon one coming out when the Pokemon game comes out. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So you have a little bit on Sony right now, because let's all admit the N64 Classic and the PlayStation Classic are gonna go head to head. Like, if a parent walks in the store, they're gonna have to choose. But you now know the price of Sony's. Yeah. You know that it comes with 20 games, or is it 20?
20 games, yeah.
20 games. So maybe you go with 25 games. And
I think honestly, Nintendo's got a problem here. And this is where the issue comes down, is like they don't have the best games on that console. Microsoft owns those. So what happens at this point? You know what I mean? Like, do they negotiate with Microsoft to bring those games over? Which can happen because they're in honeymoon phase right now, where they're working very well together. So who knows what's happening?
I look at the PlayStation's 5 announced games though, and I'm not impressed with them.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, because PlayStation hasn't come out, this thing launches in a couple of months.
Yeah,
and we don't even know what games are on. That's why I haven't pre-ordered. You want me to give you $100 and I don't even know what you have on this console.
I mean,
Like,
that's a
no.
valid reason. That's totally a valid reason to not get
Yeah.
one for sure.
I mean, obviously, the incentive or the thinking is that you can add more games to it. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But in theory, when you look at Nintendo, right? So there was 21 games on the SNES Classic. If
That's
you
true.
think for a second they're putting 25 on this, you're insane.
They
We're
need to do
going to be
20
lucky.
now.
No, it ain't even going to be 20. We're going to be lucky if we get between 10 and 15, and that's the truth, because Nintendo values their games. They hold a high price tag on their games, and Sony does not at all. Third parties do not. I went in and traded it. So the other day I went in and traded in all my PlayStation games. Right? Traded in all my PlayStation games. I got
PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 4.
4? Oh.
I got $60 for all. I traded in 15 games. $60.
Games did you trade in? Jesus.
Uncharted 4.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Traded in like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Or Metal Gear Solid 5, like Everybody's Golf. Like there was a bunch of games. There was a whole bunch of games. Whatever. I'm just saying.
That's what Bobby buys.
What I'm saying is Uncharted is not trash. So the thing of it is, like when you look at that, like they don't hold value. But I could take in the same amount of Nintendo games, and I guarantee you I'd have got over $200. Nintendo holds the value on their games, and it's just the way it is. So when it comes time for this, like, look at, dude, they're selling. When you look at the Wii U, they were selling Wii U games, right? At what? Or they were selling N64 games on the Wii U for $8,
$10, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Were they no? Were they not? They were $9.99, weren't they?
Actually, no. Sorry. Oh my God. Wait.
They were
the Wii
$9.99,
games were $20, and then the N64 games were $9.99.
Yeah.
So if you think for a second that they're going to put 20 games on there, no way. You're going to get 10 games. Dude. That's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get 10 games.
That would be terrible.
It'd be terrible.
For a rude awakening, for sure.
Well, and it's going to be $100. I don't think they can go lower than that, especially with the controllers. And the interesting thing is N64 is hot right now in terms of the collecting world. It's like N64 and GameCube are like the hot things right now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But what's up?
Sorry, I was just like gonna list off some things on top of my head, and Bomberman 64 was published by Nintendo. Didn't realize that. Yeah.
They do have some. They do. You can definitely fill out a roster, I think, of games.
Yeah, you can. Just looking at this alone, it's possible.
But I think spring is probably the best bet for this because the only thing I say, because you have what 4 or 5 Switch SKUs now. And like they're pretty big, like
but
Smash, Pokemon.
I don't think that Switch has anything to do with a classic. I think it's 2 different markets. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the gamers are going to buy them, but it's a nostalgia thing, and it's a stocking stuffer thing in that theory. So it's not the same as a console because it's just it's a console, but it's not a console. It's not viewed as a console in Nintendo's eyes. It's viewed as a virtual console machine, which is a way for them to play. Like, dude, they put the SNES last year against the Switch. Like, they don't care about that stuff. And the SKUs don't matter because there's only a few idiots that are going to go buy every single SKU that just hits. You know what I mean? Like, we're the morons that'll do that. Mom and Pop is buying one, and that's it. They're not buying, oh, Timmy needs this one and this one. Oh, and he needs a Smash. No, bull. They're getting one if they're lucky. So I don't think that is necessarily a major issue when you look at this. I think the major issue is the reason why I think it's going to get pushed back is because if I'm not mistaken, didn't the other ones launch in October? If I'm not mistaken, the SNES
November-ish, yeah.
I thought it was October was when they first push went for them. So I think that it's past. We'll probably get it spring. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, there you go. It's going to be interesting. I still think that the N64 Classic is going to sell
November
like crazy.
2016 for the NES Classic.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah, that was the weird one. September 29th, 2017.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they mix it up and go spring.
They could, yeah. And they could go. It could go to October. I just have a feeling it's going to be a little wonky. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? It's just going to sell out. It's going to sell out like that.
Dude, it's going to be nuts.
It won't be like PlayStation where you can get it right now. It'll be gone.
No. I hope Bad Bit's listening to this. I hope all these.
Oh man.
Barbarino, we have a sad story.
I just want to talk a little bit about the Telltale story. So this week, basically, Telltale came out. They fired a good portion of their staff, and basically said that the studio is shutting down. They kept on about 25 people. Those 25 people are not working on games. They're working on the Minecraft Netflix series.
Priorities.
That's it. Like, that's where we're at. And I think it's a little crappy. And the reason why I say that is because people that bought season passes are getting kind of ripped off a little bit. Thank God I never buy these games when they launch. I never played them episodically. I would wait until they all came out, and then I'd play them all at one shot and binge it. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong in this thinking, but I just feel like this is a tale of Telltale just dropping the ball here. There was numerous issues here. They never updated their engine, so their games always kind of ran like crap. The first couple of episodes, or the first couple of ones that you did, made sense to do it episodically. But then you should have just got to the point where you were like, we're just going to put it out as a game, and here's a package, and then done. Because ultimately, what I'm curious about is how many people actually bought it at the beginning and played it episodically, and how many people, like me, waited until it went out and then waited till it got discounted and then bought it then and then just went.
The Batman that's on the Switch, is that the complete?
That's the first one. There was a second season. The second
man.
season never came to Switch.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So
Well, guys, if you see the Telltale Batman in the stores, pick that up. That's gonna be a rare game.
But it's a great game.
Yeah.
I like that one so much that I didn't buy the second season. I could have easily went out and bought the second season on PlayStation or Xbox. I didn't because what happens with these games is, let's say you play season 1. Season 2 starts off, a lot of what you do in season 1 dictates the storyline that approaches you and comes at you in season 2. So when I played The Walking Dead, the original, it made sense. It's really a shame that, like, they're just done with The Walking Dead. Like, people
the final chapter was gonna
come out.
Yeah,
like,
final chapter came out,
episodes.
And
yeah,
final season dropped, and they're only finishing up part 2, and that's it. I mean, episode 2.
Like, you still got 2 more episodes to do after that. You're not doing it now.
Sucks.
Something that I thought was very cool that came out of this was Ubisoft San Francisco sent a tweet out and said, we're going to have dinner and drinks at this restaurant in San Francisco. Please come. Let's talk about jobs. So that's kind of awesome to see. Yeah. What I hope is that someone buys someone like a Ubisoft buys up these franchises, takes the good franchises, takes the Batman, takes the Telltale, or takes the Walking Dead, things like that, and then just really does a good job with this stuff. Because Telltale was a train wreck, man. They just really did, in my opinion anyway, garbage work. Their games were very janky, very glitchy, very buggy. I never forget this, dude. I was playing the original Walking Dead on the PS4. No. PS3. I'm sorry. I was playing on the PS3. And there was a decision on who do I save. Right? And I didn't know whether to save the guy or the girl. Literally did not give me an option. The option came up, and then boom, it killed one of them. I'm like, whoa, I didn't get a chance to pick. Like, what is going on here? And then that was it.
Wow.
So very, very jankiness.
So if hypothetically, if I were to pick up the Switch one, would I be left with a cliffhanger, or is it like a
if you play season 1,
Yep.
season 1 you are complete with. You know,
Okay.
when you end, if there's a completion to it, it's done. Season 2, there's a completion to it. You don't need to play season 3.
Okay, good.
They kind of are like time cap, but the storyline carries on through the character.
Okay.
The character Clementine. It carries on through her throughout. So
Yeah.
it's kind of you didn't get to really see her resolution of in the final chapter.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Telltale is it kind of lived and died by streamers. So I remember when The Walking Dead first came out, PewDiePie was like one of the first guys to really bring it into the mainstream. People would watch him and they would really get into it. But at the same time, that's kind of a game that you're seeing it being streamed. You're seeing some of the outcomes. Why are you going to pick that up? Like, it's like, oh, I already experienced the story. Like, I mean, I know that there's branching paths and stuff like that, but it's like
you can get different endings essentially.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, ultimately, the final. Okay, so season 1, I'm not going to say what happened, but like the final conclusion is going to happen. But how you get there, who's your allies, who turns on you, who stabs you in the back, who does all that stuff, that changes. So what ultimately happens to my character and your character in season 1, that outcome is going to happen. But the story that I play could be totally different than the story you play.
Yeah.
Because you could let people die that, you know, and you could be a jerk. And yes, the final outcome of the character is always going to be the same, but the dialogue that takes place in those final scenes is going to be different. Because if people like you or don't like you, they're going to say different things and do different things. So I think you can get different and then the decisions you make in season 1 dictate how things carry on in season 2, because there are characters that come back in season 2 that you affected in season 1, and
that's pretty cool.
It's kind of neat, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know.
For me, I've never played one before. I've been interested, especially in the Batman one, because I don't really watch The Walking Dead. The Wolf Among Us, I heard, was really good.
Yeah.
But for me, it was the episodic thing. It was like, it kind of felt like microtransactions in a way. I know it wasn't, but I didn't want to like pick up single episodes. Like I would have loved.
You bought Batman, didn't you?
No, I didn't buy it.
No,
I thought you bought it for the collector, for the physical.
No, I should get it now.
It's a good game, man. It's a good game. It really is.
That's going to be rare. There's not going to be any second reprints of those at all. So, Joe, Telltale, big Telltale fan?
I mean, Wolf Among Us was my favorite one out of all of them that had dropped for me. I liked season 1 of Walking Dead. I know how it ends. I got up to episode 3. And I ended up like seeing what happens on a couple of them, but I still wanted to go back and finish that. I was going back to PS3 file too, so I at some point I would like to. What's really interesting about all of this that is happening? This is like it was so sudden, which is crazy because first off, you had a company that was working on a new engine finally. That would hopefully have gotten rid of those save corruptions, the random bugs that would have happened, and because they've stayed with this engine that is so, I don't know what the proper word for this is, but that engine you were able to really bring to every single thing, mobile, iPad, all the different consoles. Like that was a multi-tool within itself, which is why it stayed with them for so long. Not that that was the right decision to make, but it did offer them the most expansive way to get all their games out on multiple consoles and devices. So we had the engine. Stranger Things was supposed to happen. That's getting dropped. Season 2 of The Wolf Among Us was supposed to happen. Finally, we got the announcement last year I think it was, and that's not happening. Then you have season 1, 2, and 3 of The Walking Dead that was supposed to release on Switch like a week or two ago, and that didn't happen. And
They're all
It just
out.
seems
The
like
only one that's not out is season 3, right?
where is it? Because I
thought
was
season-
looking every weekend. Do I have to
thought
search for it?
I thought season 1, 2, and the in between were all there.
Final
'Cause I
season
was
I had
gonna-
seen, but I didn't catch the other one unless you got to search for it. Because I had been looking like every week because that was the whole thing. I wanted to start it on my Switch and like get everything going.
Yeah.
If that's the case,
do you-
then great. But
You guys think that this is the end for the Telltale series, or do you think someone acquires the properties, or do you think we start getting some
If
copycats?
someone's interested, I
So,
think
yeah.
it's definitely going to acquire.
complete first season is up, and then
Yeah.
the season pass for the final season. So you're missing 2, 3. Michonne doesn't count because that's more of the actual comic book, and like
Yeah.
in between certain storylines and whatnot.
Yeah.
What was that one?
The Michonne, it was like a three episode thing that like explained
okay.
in the comic books what was going on with that particular character, because she kind of like disappears for a bit and then comes back in, or something
Yeah.
along those lines. I'm not familiar with comics, but that's sort of how it was explained to me.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, dude, it's really heartbreaking. It's just like to get that. That's like a game trailers moment where they come in one day and it's like, hey, you're out of a job. Except it's 250 people.
Yeah, it's messed up.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
The I just jumped into the store on Thursday. Alwa's Awakening comes out for the Nintendo Switch.
That looks
Go
neat.
get this game.
That looks really neat.
Go get this game. This
What is it?
game is an offshoot of the Zoink company. So what
Ah.
happened was the one of the PR guys, one of the actual developers within Zoink left, and they started this new company, Elden Pixels. Go get this game, Alwa's Awakening. It is good. It is good. Very NES class or old school NES look to it.
Okay.
I saw a little GIF earlier. I was like, "Oh, this looks neat."
Yeah, it's only $9.99. It's up for pre-purchase now.
Nice.
So Telltale, I mean, I won't really, I won't really miss you, but it's sad because there's a lot of like employees without jobs now, and then it comes out like all this week, former, members of Telltale coming out saying their stories, and they were hiring people 2 weeks before they closed. Like, it's just a mess.
What?
Man.
Yeah.
2 weeks before they closed, they were hiring people still.
That's BS, man.
It's crazy. Like,
That's
who
BS.
knew what was going on? And it's crazy. Like, you see it in hindsight, too, with all the things that we were just talking about, and the fact that isn't Square doing a Marvel game similar to what Telltale creates, too?
I'm not sure.
Are they?
Wasn't that the Avengers thing? Isn't it supposed to be similar like that, or no?
We're a DC podcast here.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to anything more.
I don't know. That sounds familiar though. I don't know about.
All I know is the Joker looks
I could just be
awesome,
making that
And
up in
I'm-
my
and
head,
I'm-
but
and I'm upset that Superman left.
Joker
The
does
rest I
look
don't
cool.
care.
oh boy.
Do you guys want to dive into that other topic? We're at
What's
the
the other
hour
topic?
mark. Streaming
Okay.
service.
Yes. So,
Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's do it.
but we have like 5 minutes left, so.
Listen, the answer is no. Come on.
Well, let's say the question.
All right, so thinking do you guys think that Nintendo opens up a streaming service down the road for, let's just say they start off with AAA games. We have Resident Evil 7 cloud version, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey cloud version happening both in Japan. Now, it seems like, these are very few and far between. These are the only two that have happened so far. Granted, Phantasy Star Online 2 is also in Japan as a cloud version, which makes sense because it's an MMORPG. But seeing these AAA titles pop up, and specifically only on Japanese servers, could this be a test for something we see down the road as a separate service, or in addition to
You talking
the
about
Nintendo
kinda like a
Online
Game
program?
Pass or
Similar, yeah.
okay?
Because I'll explain real quick. The way it works right now is you pay a particular fee to have that game for X amount of time. There's like a 30-day, then there's the your license for 2 years. You're basically renting the game for a set amount of time at a full price if you're choosing the 2-year limit.
I could see EA coming out with something like that. Don't they have something like that? EA Access or something?
They do on PC and Xbox, but that seems to be a deal worked out between Microsoft and them. I don't know if that's... Is it on PlayStation platforms yet?
No.
I know it's on Xbox.
It's on Xbox. PlayStation refused to take it on.
So here you go. You have EA's thing coming out. You get Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You get Madden. Imagine that. You get Unravel 1 and 2. Starting to sound pretty good. I still wouldn't get it. Maybe
I don't
Battlefront.
I don't think this happens. I think this is not a test. I think there's things that happen in Japan for Nintendo that never happen in the United States or the UK. Japanese internet is far and away better than what we have here.
Yeah,
they're able to do things like this because of that. It's an island. It's a smaller area. Like how many Japans fit in the United States? Like it's massive. So
yeah.
It only would work in major cities, and I don't see Nintendo pissing off a good portion of the population by going, hey, if you live in San Francisco, you're going to get it. If you live in New York City, you're going to get it. And everybody else, F off. It's not going to happen. There's no way. I can't see that happening.
What if they did give you the option to download it like a PS Now, like a Games Pass?
I wouldn't be.
I don't think that you can. Those games are way too big, man.
That's true.
Those games are way
Micro
too
SD.
big. I know, but I'm just saying those games are way too big.
You're talking 50 gigs,
huh?
60 gigs.
Yeah, but
I know.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is how many people actually own over, the allotted amount that Nintendo comes with.
Let us know in the comment section down below.
I guarantee you there's not a whole heck of a lot. Guarantee you that there are.
I'm curious though. It's really interesting.
I get it. I understand what you're saying. I just don't think that. Like, I know there's going to be people that go like, "Oh, well, I have 128 and I have this. I got 400." So I know I'm in the minority.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are more people that just buy this thing and stick with the memory that it comes with. Dude, it's the same thing with the Wii U. You know what I mean? Like, there was people that came out and bought it because when you're a Nintendo console, you don't need that big stuff. But Odyssey, dude, that game is huge.
Yeah.
You need a lot of memory to download that game. And I don't see it happening. This is my opinion. I don't see it happening. Because here's the thing. If you're going to have a server base, right, then what's the point of offering downloads? Makes no point. The reason why it's the server is because Nintendo isn't the Switch is not strong enough to run a game like Odyssey. So when it's server based, that's eating up a lot of the different things that it needs in order to run. So I can't see Odyssey even running on the Switch to begin with. And I think that's why they're going server based with Resident Evil 7, with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and then they'll have more games like that to come in the future. But I just don't think that this is something that Nintendo brings here. That's just my opinion.
The way I understand it with the streaming, those computers that are streaming the games are built out to the specs of the Switch. So it shouldn't be more powerful than a Switch, which makes it even more confusing as to why it's streaming in the first place. But this is also, we're in the age of like everyone's going digital as well.
Yeah.
Which again brings up like what is happening here? Like, this is the only reason why I'm so. I mean, I brought this up right before you showed back up, Bobby, with the Capcom thing and RE7 cloud version. It's just like, is Capcom going to come out with a Game Pass of their own? But then you see Ubisoft doing something. Like, who's next? What?
Yeah. I think it could happen probably in Japan first. Probably as like a trial type thing.
I don't think something like this hits the United States for a good 15 years. That's just my opinion. The internet is not there for us yet.
It's not. No, not in a lot of areas for sure.
I mean,
completely agree with that.
You get throttled down, man. You get throttled down. I don't.
But that's upload speeds. That's not download speeds. Download is different.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
I'm just saying. Ultimately, like, the internet and the providers do wonky things all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You might start seeing something because the only reason why I say that is the internet is so cheap. Even, besides the complaints that we've been getting, there might be some companies that say, oh, I think Nintendo fans might have some extra money to maybe go into a service like this. But I could see probably like Ubisoft or EA, if anyone, doing this kind of thing. I mean, EA is starting to build a library on the Switch, so I think that's it. Real quick, I predicted Smite. And Smite is coming to the Nintendo Switch. So thank you.
Oh my god. Does anyone play that game? I played it once.
No, I played that game. It's pretty fun. Played that on the Xbox. But I think that's it for episode 53. If you want to follow these clowns, joeafterwork.com, nintendoguru.com. I see that finger.
Wow. Damn.
You can also go to NintenTalk.com/education matters. But I think that's it. You can follow us iTunes, Google Play, or you can come to NintenTalk on YouTube and see our sexy little mugs. Besides that, we'll see you next week for episode 54. See you later, guys.
Peace out, Preston. This is the first true Splatfest since
Wait a second. Let the donation notifications on, and the fucking glorious just blared in my earphones. All right, you're good now. Oh my god, that hurt.
So did we lose that?